This week on the bonus round, we're in Las Vegas at the PlayStation Experience. I'm joined by Vice President of Publisher and Developer Relations, Adam Boyes, SVP of Product Development for Worldwide Studios, Scott Rohde, and GT veteran, Michael Pachter. Hey guys, it's Jeff Feely. Welcome to the bonus round here on GameTrailers. We are at the PlayStation Experience in Las Vegas with an awesome panel. The one and only Michael Pachter with his return to the bonus round. It's been too long, Pachter. And we've also got two guests with us from Sony, Scott Rohde and Adam Boyes. Guys, and Nat is joining us as well. Kyle Boston will be happy about that. So this segment we're going to talk about something that's very special this weekend. It is the 20th anniversary of PlayStation. I've been covering PlayStation for those 20 years. I remember going to the first E3 in 1995, getting excited about the release of PlayStation in the US. Michael, let's start with you. PlayStation over 20 years. What does PlayStation mean to the gaming industry?
Okay. For the audience, just let's clarify this. How old were you in 1995?
I was a teenager.
Were you old enough to get into E3?
No, I had to take a letter with me.
Exactly. I don't think
saying,
so.
No, because I was under 16. I had to show up at the door. I had a letter from Doug Lowenstein, who was the head of ESA at the time. It said Jeff is allowed to enter E3. And I had to show the security guards.
I actually, this is my first problem with my wife. Ever. My first problem, because we weren't married yet. We got married in February of '96. And I remember I had to, she asked me what I wanted for Christmas in '95, and I said, I want a PlayStation.
Right.
And we were dating, and she just goes, why would you want that? And I go, why would I not want that? Like, are you kidding me? So, I've had trouble with my wife and games ever since. So this is the 20th anniversary of hell for me.
So your love affair with games...
Thank you, Sony. Bastards.
So your love affair with games really started with PlayStation.
Oh, absolutely. I think I played arcade games much more than console games. I had an Atari 2600 and I had an NES, but Nintendo NES, you played Nintendo games. But Sony was the first time that you really got third-party support that was meaningful. And that, and it was like, I owned all of the Madden football on PC. So just the idea that I could play in hockey, the idea that I could play that stuff on a PlayStation was really cool. And then you guys obviously had, the old Naughty Dog stuff, and Spyro the Dragon even was fun. The original Goofy games.
Yeah, it's an amazing legacy when you look back.
But Crash Bandicoot changed my life. That was seriously, it was like, and my wife is watching me play Crash Bandicoot, and she's like thinking about calling off the wedding. So I swear
to you, are you a child or are you a man?
I'm really not. No, we had that conversation last week as well. But when you say
is it a weekly cadence?
When you say 20th anniversary, I'm like, I'm so old that I've been fighting with my wife for 20 years. Thank you, Sony.
All thanks to PlayStation.
Worth the fight.
Right.
It is worth the fight. So, Rohde, you've obviously been involved for so many years in the creation of PlayStation games. For you, over the 20 years, what have been some of the highlights in your career?
Well, I'm first going to talk about before I joined PlayStation because it was interesting. I cut my teeth at Sega back in the, believe it or not, late 80s, early 90s. Master System era. And all the way through Genesis and into Saturn, where Sega started to falter a little bit. I was there. It was a tough time. And we start to hear rumors that Sony is going to create this thing called PlayStation. I kid you not. All through the halls it was, what does Sony know about making a game system? We're Sega. We've made this forever. It blew our minds when we saw it. So then the next 8 years before I joined PlayStation, I was at various companies. So I was, as a gamer, experiencing PlayStation for those first PlayStation years. The moment I remember the most, Gran Turismo, finish a race. I remember exactly where I was standing. I was standing in the hallways of Radical Entertainment, a developer, playing Gran Turismo for the first time. Race ended, thought it was a nice static screen showing me the end results of the race, and then I saw it start moving. Turned into a replay. Blew my mind. Really good memories.
Now, and you guys had some amazing videos here. I love that Little Big Planet video that recapped all these amazing PlayStation franchises over the years. Adam, you're now in a position where you get to work with a lot of these amazing franchises and partners, but for you, where did your love affair with PlayStation begin?
It's funny because I started way back in the day. My very first I had a Tandy 16, so I was sort of this weird PC gamer doing programming like text adventures and stuff like that. And with PlayStation 1, I remember I got a job in the industry about 96, and I was working at EA. I remember because I was working on NBA Live for PS1, and I walked in, and a lot of guys, we used to put the noodles in so you could play the game, right, while we were testing it. And
or dongles, noodles, dongles.
There were like little elastic. Anyway, and then at lunch every day, there'd be this huge, like some of us would go and play, I think it was Quake 1, right? And a bunch of guys were like hovered around, screaming and yelling, and it was a puzzle fighter tournament. And I was like, okay, so I'm like, so I started literally like playing it at home just to get better at it. So I could one day be like, I want to play too. And I get pretty good, like top 3. But from that point on, it was just like, there was always this fervent sort of passion around the brand, and there was like the sort of PlayStation fans and the ones that didn't, right? There was always sort of this awesome passion. It was so fun to watch people like talk about their favorite games. Their first moment, we actually did this thing internally recently where we talked to everyone like, what was your first moment where it absolutely dawned on you of like how important games are?
Yeah.
And Resident Evil, right when that dog jumps through,
that's the moment.
That's like, you were like, what? The video games could never play King's Quest. I mean, on my PC, you couldn't get that visceral sort of stuff. So it's been an amazing journey.
It has been amazing 20 years now. We are here, obviously, at PlayStation Experience, looking back, but sort of looking forward at kind of where PlayStation is going. Pactor, what's your take on the state of PlayStation right now? How's Sony doing?
Yeah, Michael.
You know,
yeah, what is the state of PlayStation?
I have to compliment Sony for not screwing up the opportunity they got that Microsoft handed them on a silver platter. And I actually was telling Andy this last night. I think the moment that I realized that Sony was just going to crush this cycle was when you guys did that little video, you and Shu, handing a used game. And I'm like, oh my God, I mean, it's not that you just did nothing and let them screw up and die. It's that you just stuck a knife in their heart, and I would say more like a spear in their skull. It was like, I went, so, I was surprised a couple of months ago when Microsoft cut the price of the Xbox One and the PS4 sold it by a lot. I mean, by like 2 to 1. And that just shows you, I was surprised by that, but it shows you that, that Microsoft created some pretty bad will with gamers, and Sony didn't just sit on their butts. They exploited that bad will by saying, we're the good guys and you are the good guys. So I think Sony deserves the success they've had so far. I think they've earned it. I think they've executed phenomenally well. I still don't quite get why I want a white PlayStation, but when I saw the ad, I went, ooh, that's sexy.
What about the gray one? You see the 20th anniversar one?
Technically, it's putty. That's the official color.
That was the original color, though. That was Is that what it is? Okay. See, but I look at a white PlayStation. I'm
Don't you
thinking,
remember from '95?
No, dude. I always would think like, oh, the DS came out in fire red, like, who cares? And I see you guys doing it, and then people are like, no, I got me a white PlayStation. I played Destiny on the white PlayStation.
Then you gotta pick which room, which one goes in.
Right. Anyway, I'm really impressed. So far so good.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Michael.
Good execution.
It means a lot when you call us the good guys. It means a lot,
We've
right
always
here.
been good guys.
It's good.
Great games here.
Thank you.
Well, that's the other thing is there's a lot of software, and you guys, the story obviously was about the hardware and still will be to some degree, but now, now you're deeper in the cycle. It's about software, where you guys are going. And Scott, you've got obviously an amazing portfolio of stuff. One thing that I noticed here at PlayStation Experience was that, we're not just seeing $60 retail games. You guys are talking a lot about, free to play. Talking, Vita software, which a lot of people have been asking about, different business models. Tell us a bit about, when you guys are looking at games now, like how is PlayStation approaching all these different markets?
Well, I think one of the things that we love to do at PlayStation is see where the creative minds take the business. And I think it's so important to us to not drive it the other way. You can't let the spreadsheet drive the business. You have to let the creatives drive the spreadsheet and blow up the spreadsheet. I think that's very important. I think what I've learned in so many years of managing game teams is that the more you can leave them alone and the more you can protect them from anything outside in the industry that will bother them, frankly, the better off you're going to be. You're going to get great creations from all the brilliant creative minds in this industry. That's what we try to do. And I want to say one more thing. So many of the things you guys were talking about earlier reminded me that we have a great partnership, myself and Adam, and it's for the first time really in my career where we're kind of locked together, third party and first party. You've seen a lot of crossover. Adam brings all these things to the table, and these guys are ruthless. Every week there's something else, Can we have Kratos here? Can we have Sackboy here? And it's so great to see some of those things come to fruition, and it just shows that we're very like-minded. We both love games passionately, and we want to bring those experiences. We want them to cross over so that everyone here at the experience can just enjoy it.
A lot of what ifs, right? What if we did?
What if we put Shu in Super Time Force?
Absolutely.
How amazing was that trailer?
So good. He is the biggest what if guy. You're saying what if. He comes to me with some of the craziest what ifs, and I turn him down half the time. Yeah. But it's good. It's good.
You know, 50% out of 500 is not too bad.
What's the craziest idea that didn't happen?
Craziest idea that didn't. Oh yeah, no, there's I can't remember if there have been how many rooms I've been laughed out of. Like that idea would never work, right?
But Adam, for you, being a PlayStation fan, you know, what was cool, I think, on stage too, is that you had a lot of stuff with a lot of partnerships with third parties, sort of in new, in unexpected ways, and also the indie community. There's like I think 200 plus indie developers here at the show, so that's become a big focus for you guys. I think it's important because I even know from the Game Awards, some of the most creative stuff right now is coming out of these small little teams that are and that's new for PlayStation when you think of 20 years ago where it was about these big developers making big games. Now it's more accessible, right?
And understand that motivates us too. I mean, as a first party studio director, it's when I see something like The Forest, I had no idea that game existed. I didn't know until literally an hour ago sitting in the show, and that game looks incredible. And all the first party studios in here see that stuff that the indies do, and it drives them. It drives them because that creativity just totally shines through.
Well, I think the other important thing is like what I realized when I was at Capcom, we were looking at which games should we do remixes of and stuff like that. And I remember playing Dear Esther on PC for the first time, and I was like, I don't get it. And it like sold 1 million units the first week or whatever. And I think what was really important, the revelation that our team had on this, was that everyone has a different want for the platform. Like they want different types of content. One person might want, Final Fantasy or JRPG or something like that. Somebody else might just want a shooter. And so what we've been trying to do, and that's the best thing about the indies, that they bring such a wide breadth of content. And then you have a lot of people that have a ton of experience that are spinning off to start their own smaller teams to have more creative control. So I think our big goal is always just to create a massive wealth of choices, right? So people can make their own decision. That I think has been our primary goal, and also wish fulfillment, right?
Absolutely.
People are like, what if you guys could, bring back Yakuza?
What a concept, asking the people what they want.
I know, super weird.
What's your wish fulfillment, Packer? What would you like to see from Sony then?
Sackboy is a playable character in Mortal Kombat. I want to do a death move on Sackboy.
The threads come off.
Spine out, yeah.
Come on, you can play Sackboy in PS All Stars,
That's true. Coming soon to MK, maybe. All right, we'll be back in the bonus round next week with more from the PlayStation Experience.